Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Screening your calls for Dr. Debbie, dog trainer Alan Cable, dog father Joey Villani. And from the newsroom today, a developing story coming out of, I believe, the Fort Worth area. Tammy, what are you working on?
Well, gosh, this is one of the hardest stories, and there's a moral to it. And no matter how hard it is, if you take your animal into the vet to be euthanized for any reason, no matter how hard it is, you've got to stay with your animal through their final moments, and we will explain absolutely why this is essential and what can happen if you don't.
Okay, that's on the way right here. The story that, I don't want to give away the whole story, but apparently some animals that were dropped off for euthanization were not euthanized and were used for a transfusion, or allegedly used for blood transfusions.
Yeah, kept in cages for months at the vet's office.
Yes.
And
very small cages, dirty, filthy, basically just being used. Just heartbreaking. And the vet involved in this, 40-year career in the Fort Worth area, one of the most beloved vets in the area, nobody would have guessed.
I don't know what I would do at that point. I think they would be arresting me as well if I knew that. I mean, if you really think about the deception there, I mean, that's a doctor. Yeah. And what Tammy said is 100% right. You need to stay with your pets, but the bottom line is, you know what, you go into someone that you think is a trusted professional that you know that you look up to and is going to do the right thing, and then something like that happens. I'm serious. I think they would take me out in handcuffs at that point once I got the dog.
Yeah.
It shakes you to your very core. I know how hard it is to stay with your animal. I can't imagine not staying.
I know.
You know, as they say, to help them cross the rainbow bridge, to be the last thing they see.
Yes.
I couldn't just hand it off and say, okay, you guys do it. I don't want to know about it. I can't imagine doing that. And this family loves their dog. They're so happy to have him back. He's gone to another vet. He's perfectly fine. Even the reason that he supposedly had to be euthanized was apparently bogus.
Okay.
This dog is a healthy 4-year-old Leonberger.
Yeah, that is. We're going to try to find out more. In fact, Judy has just reached out to the... what would that be? The
I talked
plaintiff?
to James and
Marion Harris.
Yeah, they're actually the owner of the dog.
Okay, and Jamie said that he did not want to talk anymore about it.
Yeah, he didn't. He wouldn't go on air for legal reasons because it is
still in.
Yes, it's still being fought right now. There's a battle going on, and his lawyer said that he shouldn't be speaking to anyone, so he refused to come on air with us.
There's one other thing I want to point out, and this a friend of mine who saw what we were going to talk about today before we started air, and I was telling her about the story. She said, I never really thought about it, but there is no real blood bank for animals. So when an animal goes into surgery or needs a blood transfusion for some reason, that's a real issue. Where do they get the blood? I'm not condoning what this doctor did. Please, I'm not. No way in the world.
It's a common practice. I have worked for many vets. They usually do have a dog there and a cat there that they use for those purposes, that they have in-house. Either it's from the shelter or it's one of the vet's own animals. But it is very common practice to have an animal on hand for blood.
Really?
Yes.
It is a very, very strange story that's developing out of the Fort Worth area. Tammy will have you up to date in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. Let's hit the phones. What's going on, Anthony?
How you doing today?
Doing good.
Great. Got a question for you. How you doing, Dr. Debbie?
Hey, I'm pretty good. What can I help you with?
I've got a 19-year-old Australian Shepherd named Grady. She's my little baby, and I have her on a Remedial every day.
Okay.
She's got arthritis. You know, she's 19, but she's still getting around pretty good. And I'm just concerned with the Remedial. I tried the glucosamine and some other stuff, and none of it seems to really work. With that, I know it's not good for her liver, but, you know, it gives her a good quality of life. So what would you recommend me do? Keep her on the Remedial or try to find some alternate?
You know what? I want to know what you have in your water, because if you have a 19-year-old dog, that's amazing. That is phenomenal. So kudos to you. I mean, you're doing something right there. And, you know, I think the important thing is when we use pain relievers that are in that class, such as Rimadyl, the non-steroid-based pain relievers, we really just have to make sure we're doing a couple things. One is make sure we're not causing any harm. So there is potential for causing problems, but I want to make sure in a 19-year-old dog we don't already have some problems. So if you haven't already had some basic lab work done, that might be something just to check, because sometimes we'll adjust the dosage or the dose frequency if a pet does have some of those kind of other issues. But it comes down to quality of life when you're a 19-year-old dog. So I'm all a fan of using everything in our arsenal. So that might include glucosamine. So don't abandon that. That can help. But it's not going to be in replacement of something like Rimadyl. So you're going to want to use that in conjunction with Rimadyl. And if she's tolerating that and her lab work looks great, hey, I'm all for it. I'd keep up with it. And there's even other things you can do beyond that. There's acupuncture. So if she tolerates things like that, or massage, that can be very helpful for dogs just to keep them moving, and really just keeping her, in good activity. So if she still can make it around the backyard or make it around the block, we want to keep her doing that. Keep that muscle tone up. That's really important.
Okay, well, she gets acupuncture once a month, and it really seems to help him quite a bit, as far as his movement. So he does get acupuncture, and like you say, great appetite, gets a physical, like twice a year, and just doing great. I just was kind of, balancing quality of life over, damage to the liver, but I think I'll pretty much just keep on doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, it sounds like
if you think it's a good idea.
Oh, I sure do. We sounds like you're tackling a little bit of everything to help manage pain. So yeah, we have to be aware. There are side effects with some of these medicines, but if the overall good is outweighing that risk, that's what we got to look at. And keeping your pet comfortable, moving in those golden years is really what I focus on. And just be aware, if you start to notice any concerns or issues, that should get that red flag up and, get that vet a call and see if you have any other issues going on.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks for your call today, Anthony. We appreciate you listening to Animal Radio.
Thank you so much, and I really enjoy your show.
Thank you. So do I.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hey, it's Vinny Penn on Animal Radio, coming to you with the Party Animal segment. I know I'm way late in this one, but I still can't get over it. Seeing in the news a ways back, a big story going on about people who are leaving everything to their pets. The new movement. In their wills, they were leaving everything to their pets. And is that allowable? Should you be able to do it? Or maybe it was a local story to my neck of the woods, Connecticut, but I don't think so. But if it is new to you, or if you do know it, what are your thoughts on this, leaving everything to your pet? On the one hand, the miserable, bitter 41-year-old me loves it because it's like you're sticking it to your brother, you're sticking it to your sister, you're sticking it to your spouse. Like, I hereby leave everything to Rover. So take that, my 22-year-old beagle gets everything. You get nothing. But then there's another part of me that's keenly aware of the fact that that the people who are leaving everything to their pets are like in love with the dog and just want the world to know how much they love them. And can the dog comprehend the real estate market, how much he can get for the house? Is the dog going to put the house for sale and stand out in front? And would he be able to throw an open house? I don't know. Where does it go from there? Then again, what other pets are you leaving everything to? Are you leaving it to the cat? Cats are territorial as it is. I got a gut feeling cats, they're sharp creatures. They'll know, like, this is mine. So when that pissed off sibling comes in and decides to ignore the wishes of the deceased, everybody's got a sibling who ignores the wishes of the deceased, especially when it's a parent. And they come in and say, screw that. This was mommy's and I'm taking it even though she left it to you. That cat is going to drop on her back from the ceiling like a ninja. Never let her out of the house with grandma's necklace. Leaving everything to your pet? You leave your brain to your pet. Donate your organs. Well, then again, anybody who's going to do that, what good is that brain? Vinny Penn, Party Animal on Animal Radio.
I hear you.
I'm not sleeping much, though.
Me neither. So you got a new puppy, huh?
Yeah, that's why I'm not sleeping much.
Was this a dog that was left at the office, or how'd this happen?
No, this was a pre-planned pregnancy, if you call it that.
Okay. Pre-planned child for the...
Pre-planned, yes. So we were planning on this. Definitely fell in love with the breed, and just seemed to be the perfect fit for our lives.
What is it? What do you got?
A Bouvier.
Oh,
a 10-week-old Bouvier baby. So, yeah, she's a lot of fun, and it's just always a reminder to how much work puppies are.
Now, usually your animals they're like missing a limb or something. So this is a complete animal, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Normally, either rescues or
assembly required.
Tail. Yeah. So this one, yeah. But and just sleeping, I found that some husbands are not always the most supportive when it comes to childcare, and my husband's pretty good, but I'll tell you, I'm the one not getting much sleep.
It's always the mother.
Poor girl. Now, how old is he?
She is 10 weeks old.
And what is her name?
Her name is Nikki.
Nikki. So Nikki.
Hey, Dr. Debbie, you know what I like to do with little puppies? They're all freaked out when they come home, and I put him in his crate in the kitchen, but then I got the machine right there, and whenever he's crying, like I stay up all night, and I call him every hour so he can hear my voice, but I'm not actually physically there, and I go, good boy, it's going to be okay. And then I lengthen the phone calls over the days that come, because they start to get comfortable and used to where they are, but it's a way for him to hear me, but he doesn't see me, so it's kind of weird. It works, though. It's kind of cool.
That's not a bad idea there. Let's see. You'll probably be adding Bouviers to your line of books. So far, you have Yorkshire Terriers, Shih Tzus, Pugs, Mini Schnauzers, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend. You can get them over at Amazon as a Kindle book. We have links over at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Admit it, you love your dog, and he is part of the family. So when choosing your next vacation, don't forget Fido. With just a little planning, the entire family can enjoy a road trip. To find the best vacation spot for Spot, subscribe to Fido Friendly, the travel and lifestyle magazine for you and your dog, where each issue includes hotel and destination reviews, where both you and Fido are welcome. Go online to FidoFriendly.com and find out what all the barking's about.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
And let's welcome back our good friend from the Veterinary Cancer Center, Dr. Gerald Post. How are you doing over there?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I think that we're happy to be alive and be healthy. Most of our animals are healthy, but occasionally we hear stories about these older dogs, because approximately 30% of older dogs, they get cancer, and sometimes they succumb to that. But it's not always a death sentence, and you guys are working overtime over there to make sure that it isn't.
So I would say that there's... it's a great time to be in the veterinary oncology field, with all of the developments that are going on right now. And the list runs from better diagnostics and earlier diagnostics. So now that more and more people are taking better care of their pets and treating them more like family members, and now that local veterinarians are really, I would say, doing a fantastic job at evaluating these animals with, diagnostics such as ultrasounds as well as X-rays and blood tests more frequently, we're finding cancers at a much earlier and less aggressive stage. And so, just like in people, earlier diagnosis translates into better success and longer life. In addition, more and more therapies are being developed. And, when I first started 26 years ago, it was surgery and a few chemotherapy drugs. Now we have unbelievable surgical techniques that have been developed, as well as a lot of new chemotherapies, including, some oral targeted chemotherapies like Palladia, which are pills that are given to animals, just like, people who have oral targeted chemotherapy, and now radiation therapy. And I would say over the next, 1 to 5 years, there's going to be even new forms of cancer therapy that are being developed and launched for animals.
Is cancer therapy expensive?
So, it's really interesting over the last 5 to 10 years. You see really divergence. Yes, cancer therapy has become more expensive as we do more multimodality therapy. So when you combine surgery, radiation, and chemo for some of these animals, it can be quite costly. But I would say also over the past number of years, we have been able to develop a lot of low-cost oral what are called metronomic chemotherapy protocols, where you give low dosages of an oral chemotherapy and non-steroidal, which is really designed not to attack the cancer, but really to attack the blood vessels that are feeding the cancer.
Are there things that we can do to decrease the risk of cancer to our pets?
So I would say that the best advice that I can give is really the best advice that any human physician can give, and that is, a good diet, enough exercise, and quality of life are the things that we can do. All of us are born with some genetic susceptibility to cancer, and so we probably will never be able to eliminate that risk, but we can certainly decrease any of the things that are in the environment, diet, or anything that we do that add to that risk.
What you
got? Actually, Doc, can you comment on the link between smoking in a household with the increased rate of cancers in cats and dogs?
Absolutely. And so just like, in people, secondhand smoke does increase cancer risk in animals. There's a fantastic paper that looks at smoking and cancer risk in cats. And so unlike people where smoking causes an increased risk of lung cancer, in cats, because they're such fastidious groomers, as that tobacco smoke settles on their fur and they groom, they actually have a higher incidence of gastrointestinal lymphoma.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, people don't think about that.
Absolutely. So if you're not going to stop smoking because of, your health risk, stop smoking for your pet.
You guys are doing great work. I want to give out the website. It's vcchope.com. vcchope.com. That's the Veterinary Cancer Center. We're with Dr. Gerald Post. He's the top dog over there. And learning all kinds of brand new ways to treat cancer. So make sure you get them checked out. If you even think, I know for us, we have a cat who has a probable lymphoma. Mm-hmm. We don't know that. And we have chosen not to put her through any kind of treatment just because I feel that the quality of her life might be infringed upon. Do you find that more and more common? People are staying away from treatment or aggressively going towards it?
Goal here, and what I talk to my clients and to all of our oncologists is we have two pillars, and those pillars that we need to uphold with every client and every patient is both quantity of life and quality. So I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think that we can treat and maintain a high quality of life. And you really need to adjust and give therapeutic recommendations that are tailor-made to each individual pet and owner's situation. So I would say to you, we can probably treat your cat and maintain a great quality of life.
But there's no flat-out answer for every single...
That is absolutely correct. There is no flat-out one-size-fits-all.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I have to say, you guys know that my own dog last year I lost after her battle with histiocytic cancer in her elbow. And we went to our local oncologist to seek treatment with zimidronate. And did wonderful response. And this isn't kind of like your typical medication for cancer, but it was really helpful. It was more of a palliative medicine, and it really made a quality difference in her life.
Wow.
And that's exactly what we're talking about, is tailor-making, therapies based upon, an individual animal and individual's owner's unique situation.
vcchope.com is the website. Dr. Gerald Post, thanks for joining us again. Always learn so much from you.
Thank you so much for having me, and you have a great day.
We'll head back to the phones for your questions for Dr. Debbie or for Alan Cable or Dog Father Joey Villani right now.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is John O'Hurley. You're listening to Animal Radio. And remember, most importantly, please spay or neuter.
Do you have an old car sitting around your house? Maybe you're even paying insurance on it. Well, if you don't need that car anymore, donate it, running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. They will even come and pick it up for free and give you a receipt for a tax donation. Breast cancer screening could save the life of someone you love. And right now, they need your help. They want to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And that's what your old car helps to pay for. So get your phone out and call right now to donate your car to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. Remember, they will come pick it up for free and give you a tax donation receipt. Call right now.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
And I'm Tammy Trujillo. You know, there's been the Million Man March, the Million Mom March, and a few weeks ago there was the first ever 1 million Pibble March on Washington. So what's a Pibble? It's one name for pit bulls. I like to call mine a Petey Bull. But anyway, thousands of pit bull advocates convened on the west lawn of the U.S. Capitol. The message: create stronger laws against dog fights and stop legislation that restricts ownership of certain breeds of dogs. The march, organized by a comedian and pit bull advocate named Rebecca Corey. Now, no Pibbles were there. That's a decision Corey actually took some heat for, but she says there are always a lot of dangers in bringing many dogs of any breed together in what could be a stressful situation. And she says that dogs can't change the laws, only people can do that. So only people were there. And Corey's pit bull advocacy group is called Stand Up for Pits. Now, this is terrific. If you want to own a dog or a cat in Turkey, you have to take a course. Pet ownership there has been exploding, and now the government's decided it's time to make sure animals are protected. They have an animal rights bill, and an amendment to it just laid down criteria to own animals and set standards for their comfort and their well-being. And future pet owners, they have to undergo a training course first, and they have to graduate with an animal care certificate, or they cannot adopt a pet or buy one. The committee is now also considering a requirement that means anybody who strikes an animal in a traffic accident has to take that animal to the vet for treatment. They just can't leave it there. Do you sleep with your pet? Well, should you sleep with your pet? That's been debated for a long time now. So what do vets think about this? VetStreet.com did a poll, and of the 255 vets asked, 75% say they let their pets share their bed with them. Some people are more likely to let a cat in the bed because they take up less space. But 52% of those vets let both cats and dogs in. Now, what about being disruptive to sleep? According to the poll, 13% of doctors say they think pets help them sleep. 28% said their dogs do hinder their sleep. And more than 50% say they saw no difference whatsoever. Get more breaking animal news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
This is Greg Biffle on Animal Radio, and remember to spay and neuter your pets.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
You people are all nuts.
Yeah, I mean, no.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, you're hanging out with us, aren't you? So what does that say?
Crazy people. Crazy people.
Yep,
You need sleep. Yeah, you got to have sleep. Because if you don't have sleep, then you wake up, you're grumpy, you're irritable, you're not yourself, you act like a lunatic. That's what happens.
Well, it's bad for your health, too, for your heart, for everything. It's bad when you don't sleep. It's like having a newborn for 15 years. Is waking up every couple hours. It's horrible.
We've talked about this. I mean, Hal always gives me guff. He says, you say don't sleep with your animal. Well, it's individual case. I mean, there is no blanket solution. If you can sleep with a dog and it's, he's a cool dog and he just lays there, some dogs just lay there at your feet and you will sleep just fine with him there, then you should sleep with your dog. But if you're not sleeping, I think the answer is pretty obvious. Either you sleep with your dog and suffer through life, or you fix it.
Yeah, he's right, and I really don't have a problem with sleeping with the dog. It's the bedtime story before he goes to bed that's a pain in the butt.
Sometimes they just want you to keep repeating it, don't they?
You go from page 5 to the end hoping they won't notice or anything, but if you do that, they notice immediately.
No, they catch you.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Catch you.
My dog loves Clifford, the big red dog books. He can't get enough of Clifford.
I know. Line 4 has Mike on. Hey, Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Beautiful day out here in West Texas.
West Texas.
I like Texas.
I love Texas.
I love Texas, too.
What's going on with you? I understand you want to talk to Alan here.
Yeah, I've got a question about a dog that's trying my patience. I live in Phoenix, and I run from Phoenix to Houston twice a week. I was at a truck stop in El Paso, and I found a little dog, a little malnourished pup, and picked him up, and he's been riding with me for about 2 months now. I'm going to keep him till the end, but he's so far learned how to heel on the leash. He can sit, lay down, and stay, but I cannot teach this dog to come to me when I call his name, and it's getting to the point where I almost cringe when I think about taking him out to play, which I do still, but I bought the 25-foot training lead, and I watched some videos on YouTube, and they make it look really easy, and when he has that training lead on, he's very well behaved, and he comes to me. But the minute I take it off and I say, all right, we're going to try this without it, he's off. He's like a rocket. He goes.
Well, how long have you had this dog, Mike?
He's been with me for about 2 months now.
And how old would you say he is?
He's got to be at least 4 to 5 months. I'd say more like 5 months old.
All right. So you've said a couple of key things. First of all, I got to tell you, I actually found a puppy in El Paso, too. On the way to El Paso to do a radio job, I found a puppy, and his name was Roger. And I trained him, and I gave him away, so that's interesting. But you said a couple of things that are key. First, trying your patience. He's trying your patience. Number 2, you told me he's a puppy. And number 3, you told me you just basically found him. And they make it look easy on the Internet. It's not easy. Everything takes patience, and then it's easy. And everything takes time, and then it's easy. So when you have a little puppy like that, that dog is smart, which is a good thing. He's figured out that when you have him on the leash, he can't go anywhere, and he's figured out that when you let him off the leash, he's free. So the key is, buddy, is that you never let him off the leash, okay? Because it's going to take a while for him to respect you. So if you want to let him off the leash, you've got to do it in an enclosed area, and you've got to understand that that's not training time, that's playtime. There's got to be a distinction between the two. If you're going to train him, it's training time with no play, and if you're going to play with him, it's playtime, and you're training him without him knowing it. So you've got to do one or the other, because dogs are not like machines. People think they can flick a dog like a light switch, you know. They can walk in the house and get all manic and like, oh, how you doing? You're such a cute little dog. What a cute little dog. Okay, I'm done being like that. Now mellow out. It doesn't work like that. So you've got to let the dog know with structure and discipline and time. You know, you've got to have a special time each day where you're going to train your dog. And then after training, that's when playtime begins. And you have to take your dog for long walks on the leash, and you've got to give your dogs instructions all the time and see that he follows the instructions and be patient with him and not react when he doesn't do what you say, but only when he does do what you say. And then over time, your dog will learn to respect you. Puppies want to explore the world and go nuts, so you've got to be patient. This is going to be a 2-year process, my man. After the first year, you'll see the dog's results. You'll see the dog will come to you when you call, but maybe if a car goes by, he won't. He'll chase after it. So you've got to be patient, pay attention to your dog, watch the triggers, and take your time. Use positive reinforcement and never give your dog attention for doing stuff you don't want him to do. Does that make any sense?
It makes perfect sense. And I know from past experience, I'm 41 years old now, and in my life I've had 2 dogs from puppy to death. He's number 3, and I know that reward comes. That once you make that bond and they know, he's already, I can see it, that he knows when I start walking towards the door of my truck after he goes out to go potty, he already tries climbing up the steps to get in. And I can see that his mind is working, and I know that reward of him being super smart and knowing the things that I'm saying, it's going to come. But with this dog, my goodness, it seems like it's taken a long time. And I feel horribly guilty that I'm forcing him to live in this 10-square-foot truck with me. And we spend 12 hours a day driving, and then I sleep 10 hours a day, and we only get a few hours outside of this truck. And I know he's putting up with a lot, so I'm cutting him some slack. But he's a good boy, and I think what you're saying makes perfect sense.
All right, one more thing, Mike. Get rid of the guilt. All he needs is about a half hour to an hour a day of exercise. Plus, he gets to be with you all the time. And dogs are masters at just taking naps. They love it. As long as they're with you, he loves being with you. You're his pack. He loves being with you. So don't feel guilty. Guilt is the enemy of a good dog trainer. Guilt will get in the way of you doing what needs to be done. Don't feel guilty. Your dog has a wonderful life, a great human companion. You're doing everything well. Just be patient. Be patient and be consistent, and it will all work out.
Yeah, that's awesome advice. That everything you said makes sense. Yeah, and you're right. He's very, very good at just being a dog.
He should be.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Hey, thanks for your call, Mike. We appreciate it. Please drive carefully.
Well, you lucky dog, don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear-Free Happy Homes, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com. And thanks, Fear-Free, for underwriting Animal Radio.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
An upscale German restaurant says your dog is welcome, but keep those crying kids at home. Peter Degley, the owner of Bohème, says his customers work hard and don't come to his restaurant to hear children crying. He says they want peace and quiet and have complained to him on several occasions. Now people with children are complaining. Some people are protesting while others are applauding the new rule. Degley, the father of two, doesn't understand what all the fuss is about. He says children are welcome at lunch, just not at dinner, when he says they should be home sleeping anyway. So for now, at Bohème, you and your dog can make a dinner reservation. Just keep the barking to a minimum, please. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
How would you like to get a free smartphone? If you own a smartphone, listen to this incredible offer that's almost too good to be true. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Plus, get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline now and we'll move your number from your existing service. Think of your savings. So don't wait. Switch your plan, save money, plus get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. We guarantee you're going to love our service. If you don't like what we say, you can hang up on us. But you won't. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. That's 800-475-3351.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Going to the phones, we have Renee. Hey, Renee, how are you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Splendid. What's up?
I would like to tell you a funny story.
I like funny stories.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, hit me up.
Okay. I have an amazing story to tell you about my half-lab retriever border collie that we adopted. She was so smart. I schooled her when I first adopted her. She would not go to the backyard to do her business until number 10.
Until number 10?
Yeah, well, she would not do her business in the backyard until from number 10. I said the number 3.
Oh, I'm so confused. Is Alan, are you following?
Well, anyway,
wait a minute. I'm cracking up.
Anyway, I started from number 10, and I went back to number 3 with her.
Oh, a countdown of sorts.
Yeah, a countdown. Then she darted out the door and did her business when I said number 3.
Beautiful.
Wait, can I ask a question? Because I'm not following this
okay.
at all. So you counting backwards from 10?
Yes.
Yeah, she made a game.
Okay.
I made a game out of it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because they told me at the pound how smart she was.
I think you're smart, too. You're a smart lady that you figured out how to engage your dog and create a magical trick to do business. That is very ingenious of you.
Oh, she was magical, let me tell you. So anyway, it's really a funny story. Anyway, I counted back to the number 3, and then she darted out the door and did her business. I opened the door and let her out. Well, we finally got smart, and we thought, well, we need a doggy door for her, so we got a doggy door. And to my surprise, she sat at the doggy door until I said the number 3. So when you were speaking about memory for dogs, it piqued my interest because of her, because she was so smart. So you're probably wondering how she went through the doggy door to do her business when I was asleep during the night.
Damn straight I'm wondering.
During those wee hours. Well, she barked and barked at that doggy door, and she probably woke my neighbors up. But I had to count back from the number 10 number backwards to the number 3, and then she darted out the doggy door, waking me up in the middle of 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Uh-oh. You're in trouble when you're not home.
What kind of breed is she again?
She was half Labrador Retriever and half Border Collie.
Oh, okay. So you got one that'll eat anything and one that is really smart.
Yeah, I home cook for her.
I bet you do.
I made her, I bought these little doggy meat pans, and I made her homemade meatloaf. That was her favorite.
Wow, she's eating better than I am.
Well,
Wow.
I made her little mini steaks, mashed potatoes. She ate everything.
I want to be your dog.
And she was 14 and a half years old.
You won't even count to 3.
Huh?
Al wants to be your dog.
I said, I'll be your dog.
No,
You
I
wouldn't even have to count to 3. I'll go in and out everything.
Well, believe me, I home cooked for her because when I got her, she had her bones were showing, and they kept telling me that she hated dog food. And I put dog food out for her for like a couple of months, and she was getting skinnier. So I started home cooking for her, and she just loved it.
You must have a lot of time to do that, because I know most people with a pretty active lifestyle don't have time to cook for their animals. They want to, but they don't.
Well, I love animals.
Well, I thank you for calling today.
Well, I'm not finished with my story.
Oh, you're not?
Oh, she ain't finished
sorry.
there, Hal.
I'm sorry.
Hal, get out of the way, Hal.
I'm sorry.
Get out of the way.
I'm out of here.
Get out of the way, Hal.
Well, the funny part about my story is when we got the doggy door and all that, she sat at the door, but I thought, well, for the heck of it, I'll try number 20. Well, she did a dance at the door and turned around at the table, and she peed on the leg of the table because I didn't say 3.
Beautiful.
Uh-oh.
That's amusing. I love it.
But my dog passed away just last year.
Oh.
And her name was Big Baby.
Big Baby. Now, are you going to get a new Big Baby? Well, not
Well, maybe.
You know what I
But
mean.
anyway, the funny part is I took her for a walk one time, and she turned around and hightailed it, and I couldn't figure out why she was hightailing it back home. When I took her for a walk, well, she saw her shadow on the fence, and it was 3 times as big as her.
Oh, that would scare me, too.
So that's why we called her Big Baby.
Renee, thanks so much for cheering me up, making me laugh a little bit.
But anyway, dogs do have memory.
They certainly do. I know that Ladybug, the studio stunt dog, she has pretty good memory.
Yes. Yeah, but that dog was spoiled rotten, and she had the best food, let me tell you.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yes.
Did you tell us the funny part?
The funny part.
Yeah.
There were like 3 or 4 funny
Alan,
parts.
come on, get with it.
Which part was that?
No, the funny part is when you keep saying, no, the funniest thing is when you keep saying, well, that's not the funny part. Let me tell you the funny part. So I just want to know if I've heard the funny part yet.
Oh, probably when I was asleep during the night in the wee hours, and she barked at the door, and I had to count back to number 3 before she'd go wee-wee.
That was most obviously the funny part for me. Renee, thank you so much for calling today. I appreciate it. And thanks for listening to Animal Radio. Tell a friend, will you? You're the kind of listeners we want.
Oh, we love your radio. I tell everybody.
You're awesome. Take care of yourself now.
You know, I would get a recording device if I was her. That when a dog barked, it went on and would count to 3, and then you wouldn't have to worry about it. The dog can
I just
go in
tell
and out
you-
all he wants.
It won't work, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the dog has learned that the dog can control her by waiting for her to say this number. The dog can make her come and say whatever, the number. So the recording would do nothing because that dog is basically being in charge.
So
he's
technically, this is a bad thing then.
It is a bad thing. It is technically a bad thing if she has to get up If the dog's going to go out there and do his business without her around, it's fine. It's just a trick. But once the dog figures out, oh, I can manipulate her. I can get her out of bed, come to the door anytime I want. And if she doesn't, I'll go to the bathroom in the house. So that's the dog being basically in charge and learning how to manipulate the human.
Thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing. If you've written a book, they can help you through the process, cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If they decide to publish your book, your work ends, theirs begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art. Plus, get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and in bookstores across the country. They even help promote your book. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, or even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. And don't forget to ask about audiobooks. We do all of this for you. Call today for your free writer's guide packed with tips, tricks, and templates to help you finish what you started.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team. Veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, dog trainer Alan Cable, groomer Joey Villani, communicator Joy Turner, and here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Dr. Debbie seems to burn the candles at 3 or 4 different ends. As she's doing the radio show, she's consulting with a patient. Is that correct?
Yes, she is. Wow. She's over there on the phone. You can see her.
It's amazing how she's
multi-talented.
She's a multitasker. I personally can't chew gum and do a radio show at the same time. Although Alan can, and he's chewing gum right now. What flavor is that?
Yes, I'm very bedextrous.
You bedextrous?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what I am.
We are working on a news story that's coming out of Fort Worth. Tammy, give a quick recap for those that are just tuning in.
Okay, well, this is a 40-year career veterinarian in Fort Worth, Texas, and allegedly a dog was brought into him to be checked out. He told the family that this dog would not have a good quality of life anymore. It was a Leon Hound, a beautiful, beautiful dog. He said the dog needed to be euthanized. The family did not stay with the dog while the euthanization took place, and they discovered just about a month ago by a vet tech who had left this man's practice that this dog had not been euthanized. Instead, was being kept at the clinic and being used as a blood donor dog. And they went in, stormed the place. They got their beautiful dog back. This vet is in a lot of trouble now, and apparently this is not the first dog that he allegedly has done this with.
And Judy, just before the show, reached out to Jamie Harris.
Mm-hmm. I did talk to him.
Who it was, I guess, one of the dogs that was...
he was the owner of this dog.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Him and his wife were the owner of this dog, this Leonberger, that they thought was euthanized 6 months ago.
Is he going to be on the show?
No, he refused to come on air and talk to us. They're in a legal battle right now, and his lawyer has advised him not to talk to anybody. So he said, what is it, Inside
Edition?
Inside Edition. He turned them down, too, so we weren't the only ones he turned down.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I feel
the good
better.
news is the dog is okay.
Good.
And they did take it to another vet, and this dog does not have any problem that requires this dog to be treated or euthanized, for gosh sake. The dog is recovering, and they're so happy to have this dog back.
So weird, man. I mean, why would that guy do something like that? Yuck.
Well, why would he tell somebody that their dog needed to be euthanized? That's pretty unethical.
And again, more. This was not the only one.
What do you mean? What do you mean pretty unethical? It doesn't get any more unethical than that.
Yep.
And he wasn't even treating this dog well. I mean, this dog was sitting in its own feces in a teeny, tiny cage. They said in the court documents that they didn't think this dog had been out of the cage except for the transfusions.
What do you do with a guy like that?
Well,
and
it
it's
is
so
Texas.
Interesting. But he has such a wonderful practice and such a wonderful reputation, and people have gone to him for decades. It's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde almost.
Yeah,
it's so strange. Yeah.
And that's Fort Worth, which is
Fort Worth.
a pretty big city.
Right around Fort Worth.
Yeah. Okay.
See, this is why I don't like people.
Because they do things like this?
Yeah. A dog would never do that.
No, a dog.
A dog would never put you in a cage and tell your owner your family you were dead. If he put you in a cage, it'd be to lick you to death. That's all.
Yep. That's not a pleasant way to die, by the way. Some might think that, for the first 15, 20 minutes, not not bad, but actually, after the first couple of hours, you start to get raw, and it hurts, and it stings a little bit.
You talking about being in a cage?
No, being licked to death.
Licked to death.
Oh,
silly.
No, I'd like that. I can't get enough of that stuff.
So, Dr. Debbie, do you have a dog around there that you use for transfusions?
No, we do not have any in-house donors. We do have in town a blood bank where folks donate their pet to donate blood, and in return to kind of help out other animals. So,
I didn't know that.
But it's pretty common for a lot of vets to have animals that are blood donors in their clinics, is it not?
I believe some do, and I'll give you my personal opinion on this. I don't think that's a way of life for an animal, is to live in a vet office and just, great, you make great medical care and get love and attention, but I think animals deserve more, and I really think they deserve to live a well-rounded life and outside of a cage or a clinic setting. So yeah, that's a horrible, horrible story. That's all I can say. Is just, there's bad people in every profession. And,
yes, there are.
Fortunately, veterinary medicine has got some very great, compassionate individuals, and the vast majority of veterinarians are completely ethical and do things by the book.
You just have to wonder what was going on in that guy's head. It's like, what's the rationale? What's the thinking process? I don't get it. He's just not right in the head. He must have lost his marbles.
Well, there's some people that are saying, well, this couple didn't even want to say goodbye to their animal. They didn't want to be there when it was euthanized. How much did they care for their animal? And
I hate when people say things like that. Well, if you don't grieve like I grieve, there's something wrong with you.
Well, and not everyone wants those last moments to be what they remember and what's in the forefront of their mind. So you have to respect people's individual decisions with something like that.
Everybody's different.
And it's unfortunate that this individual is going to cause people to question, the behaviors of, your neighborhood veterinarian. So I think that's why opening the dialogue with your veterinarian, what is the practice? What do you do? What if I want this? What if I choose to do that? And really feeling comfortable with your decision.
Okay, so we'll find out more about that in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio.
Did you know that it's Cancer Awareness Month for dogs?
I was unaware of that.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I live and learn here. I'll tell you, I learn more from Animal Radio than any other lessons that even Alan Cable teaches me. And he's taught me a lot. He really has.
I have toothpicks going here.
That explains everything.
I don't roll over and submissively urinate anymore.
That's so good.
This is exciting. In Mexico City, a rare cross between a zebra and a donkey was born in the zoo. They're calling it a zonky.
A zonky?
Or a
zonky?
Some people are calling it a zebroid or a zebras or a z-donk.
Okay.
This is strange because it's rare. I didn't think it was that rare, but apparently this is rare. There's only a few of these guys around. Kumba is his name. And this surprised the scientists because zebras were thought to be incompatible with donkeys. Did not know that. But I'll hold up a picture so you can see. Maybe we should post that at the website.
Yeah, that's a better idea.
Better.
That would work better, yeah.
To my left, Dr. Debbie.
Incredible.
To my right, Alan Cable, answering your dog questions. And Joey Villani in the break room right now, filling up for another. He's drinking a lot of coffee lately. I didn't want to mention anything, but maybe it's time for an intervention.
But is it decaf or is it?
I don't think so. He seems to be
Joey's getting a little older, and you know what happens to us older guys. Our prostates, when they grow up. He's just trying to clean the plumbing out.
I think you guys are just stressing him out, and he just needs the caffeine to deal with it.
Judy spends a lot of her time doing cute little projects.
With Ladybug.
Yes, that usually, whether it's like making a collar, a bedazzled collar for her or whatever it is, or clothing for her. But this last one that I saw her doing, very cute. I don't know if you remember when you were a kid doing the paint by numbers.
Oh, didn't we all, or is that dating ourselves? Do they still do that?
I loved it. I did tons of paint by numbers.
Yes.
It made you look like you were some kind of professional.
It does, yes.
Well, this lady that we're going to talk to next, she's combined taking a picture that you have, a photo of your animal, and digitizing it, and then creating a paint by numbers
kit, a whole
template.
Kit, yeah.
Neat.
That you would paint. And is she there? Amy, how are you doing?
I'm here. Hi.
How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good. Your company, Easy123 Art. And,
yes, that's correct.
That can be found at easy123art.com. So give us a rundown of what the whole deal is there.
Well, the whole deal is basically you can send in any photograph, and we convert it into a paint-by-number kit, and you receive acrylic paints, paint brushes, everything that you need in order to paint your own personalized portrait.
And so it could be animals, it could be of anything, but in this particular case, Judy picked her dog. Are people sending in their animals? What kind of photos do you get?
I would say about 50% of the photos we receive are of pets. Other photos are couples, kids, babies, family vacation pictures, cars, weddings, that sort of thing. So, yeah, we get a lot of interesting photos, especially the pet ones are lots of fun to do.
Have you ever got any pictures that you couldn't print?
Oh, what, like nudity or porn or something?
Yeah, something like that. There's going to be people that do that.
Of course, we've been in business for about 15 years now, so we've had a lot of various photos sent in to us, and on a rare occasion we might get something that's a little risque, but if there's anything that's, that we're not comfortable with processing, of course we'll ask for another photo, but most of all, we receive candid family snapshots that are nice and fun and easy to do.
Okay, so here's what Judy did. She sent. I guess she actually went online and you uploaded a picture of Ladybug. Is that correct?
Right. I have lots of pictures, of course, of Ladybug. So it was really hard choosing one, but I did narrow it down to one picture that I sent in.
And then you selected a canvas and a frame color.
Yeah, you get a choice with the kit. You can do the different frames. You can do different sizes.
Right. Yeah, so there's a whole customization process. It's really easy to do. Like you said, all you have to do is upload your image, and you can choose the color palette that you wish to paint with, whether that's vintage or color, or we have an artsy pop palette, and then we also have a black and white palette, so we can convert color photos into beautiful black and white portraits that you paint yourself, so you have an artful, original painting that you can hang in your home of your pet. And it's something that pet owners absolutely love.
Judy loves it.
It actually came out beautiful.
How long did it take you to do?
It is, Judy. It's gorgeous, I got to say.
You know what? I did it like an hour here, an hour there, and I think I completed it within 2 weeks, doing about an hour, here and there. And I am just so proud of it and so happy with it.
What? You know what my problem is, of course, is I can't stay in the lines. and people say, well, you shouldn't stay in the lines. You should be all over. Mine would look like Picasso afterwards.
But that would be kind of cool.
And that's okay, too.
You want to give a couple away here?
I want to give a couple away. I had so much fun doing it. I want someone else to have
right
fun.
now. The paint-by-number mini kits, you'll have to submit your pictures of your animals or whatever picture you decide to submit. And it's a little project that'll take a little time, but it'll be a calming, relaxing, therapeutic process.
And then you're left with something beautiful.
Yeah.
And what a way to memorialize a pet. Say you've lost a pet. I mean, you could pay hundreds of dollars to have an artist do it, but you could do it yourself. I think this is great.
If you're not lucky enough to get on through, go on over to the website at easy123art.com.
Holy education! Hi, this is Burt Ward, Robin from the TV series Batman. You've got to keep listening to Animal Radio. Wowie zowie. They've got the best information. It's so entertaining. To the Batmobile, citizens!
Would you like to pay lower fees and interest on your credit cards? Of course you would. Are you making more money than you were a year ago? If you're like a lot of us out there, barely living paycheck to paycheck, I doubt it. It just costs more to live today, and you're probably using your credit cards more. To help you, the credit card companies have issued the Credit Card Hardship Program. It's a free program that can help you by reducing their fees. We've set up a special hotline right now, so regardless of what credit card company you work with, we can help you negotiate through the hardship program. To qualify, you must have $10,000 or more in credit card bills, have a source of income or a job, and you're having a tough time paying your bills. Listen, we want to help you, so please make this free phone call right now to learn more.
800-245-1567. 800-245-1567. 800-245-1567. That's 800-245-1567. Paid for by the Debt Solutions Network.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Hi, Candace. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Well, welcome to the show. What's going on?
I rescue and the old ones I keep. And I have a little boy that I took out. He's 10 years old. And I took Lily to the vet and had his last 3 teeth extracted. And They said his blood test, everything was fine. But I noticed that his urine has a very strong ammonia smell. And I called his doctor, and I said, why is that? And he couldn't give me an answer.
Okay. So he lost the last 3 teeth in his head, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's 10 old.
Yeah, well, and unfortunately, that's the product of, not having regular dental care all those years before you had them. So, well, bless your heart for getting that in track. Now, is he neutered?
Yeah.
You said the vet did some blood work and everything looked fine. Was there actually a urine test that he did?
No, because they take a panel before they'll do their teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And they did find out he had a little heart problem, which is okay. We'll deal with it. But he said his liver, kidneys, everything else came out negative. And he was fine everywhere else.
Okay, and what kind of doggy is he again?
He's a Maltese.
Wonderful. So for me, strong-smelling urine can be many things. Sometimes it could just be really concentrated urine. So that means just that it's not real watery, and it just has a higher concentration of materials within it. So the first thing is definitely to get a urine sample and just to do a basic urinalysis. We can check the specific gravity to see how concentrated it is. And if it's really concentrated, it may not be anything we got to worry about. But there are definitely some things that can kind of give an odor to urine. And, I'm all into smells. And as gross as it is, sometimes your nose knows. And if you think something smells funky, it could very well be. And I have one of those noses where, like, urinary infections sometimes will just kind of pop out to me by smelling the urine or smelling the pet after they've voided. And bacterial infections in the urine definitely can cause a strong, almost even ammonia-like odor in the urine. And that's because some of the bacteria involved with urinary tract infections actually produce ammonia as a byproduct. And so that can actually be a common problem. So checking a urinalysis, again, would be a good place to start to check for that. And then there's some other things that can go on, especially in some small breeds when we talk about liver dysfunction, where we might have problems with excess ammonia building up.
I know my last little boy, Boo Boo, he died and he had liver shunts. And I make special diets for them. I do cod, boiled cod, and liver cleansing stuff. And that's what I was worried about was that, because I know sometimes they can't digest the protein or process, and it turns into ammonia, and then they can start having seizures.
Exactly, yeah. So in dogs, just in basic terms, in dogs that have liver disease and a liver shunt is a congenital type of liver disease where it doesn't have the normal blood vessels to allow it to detoxify things normally. So with liver disease, we can get an actual buildup of ammonia, and that can actually lead to various things, sometimes neurologic symptoms, but in the case of the urine, they're unable to convert that to the normal waste products called urea. So kind of involved process. But even if the normal blood work looked good, as you probably know, when we talk about liver shunts, sometimes we have to do a special test, a liver function test called a bile acid tolerance test. So if there is anything else that has you concerned or your vet feels it's worthwhile, maybe doing a bile acid test would help give you the peace of mind as well. But for me, I would say I would definitely check a urine sample. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Could I ask you what are symptoms of liver shunts? Boo Boo just started having 5-6 seizures a day, and but
he started having what? I'm sorry.
5 and 6 seizures a day.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, yes, seizures are definitely one of the symptoms with liver shunts. Sometimes in some animals, they can be poor eaters, believe it or not. And for me, if I have a smaller toy breed dog, especially as a puppy, and they're just poor eaters, often I will do a liver function test on them to see if they might be a liver shunt. So seizures, not doing well, being lethargic. There are some different types of stones that may show up either on a urinalysis in the form of crystals or off of x-rays. So if we see those, we might be a bit more concerned about a type of a liver shunt. So those are some of the basic things.
Lalik, I have him in the park right now.
Oh. Well, give that toothless baby a hug for me, and I'm sure his tongue is probably just lolling off to one side or the other.
Yeah, it didn't come out as much as Boo Boo's did, but it is starting to come out a little bit. But you know what? That just adds to his little character.
It does. And for those that don't understand that, when we remove the canine teeth, the large 4 fang teeth, that's pretty much what holds the tongue in position in the mouth. So when those are gone, the tongue kind of goes willy-nilly to either side. So it gives them, kind of a character about that lolling tongue.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. My dogs are everything to me. So
absolutely, and I hope that gives you that confidence to call your vet and say, hey, you know what? I'd feel better just getting that urine checked if you don't mind.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Candace, for your call. And thanks for
Give
listening.
That toothless baby a hug for me.
What? You never thought you'd hear her saying that?
That's what she said. That's funny.
I bet it's a cute little doggy.
I'm sure. And you know what, Alan? You have to see some of these guys. They are just so cute with that little tongue just drooping off to one side or the other.
I see that a lot. Is that usually the case? They're just missing their teeth? That's why it happens?
Oftentimes. Now, there are some dogs that are actually born with congenitally long tongues, and there's more tongue than mouth than they have. It's even weirder if you get a combination of the two.
There's a breed. It's called the Steven Tyler dog. It has a very long tongue.
We all love children, and many of us have an old car, truck, or van in the driveway. Find the Children has a great way for you to put your unwanted vehicle to good use. Keep listening. Every year, thousands of kids go missing. Trust me, it's a parent's worst nightmare. When a child goes missing, every moment counts, and you need all of the help you can get. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to locating missing children and bringing them home safely. You can help support their mission by donating your car, truck, van, or SUV. A towing company will come and pick up your car for free, running or not, and the donation of your car is tax deductible. Your help is providing the funds they need to continue their services. Call now, donate your old vehicle to Find the Children, and get free pickup. Here's the number:
800-711-5096. 800-711-5096. 800-711-5096. That's 800-711-5096.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Tammy Trujillo. Now, this is probably one of the most horrific stories that I have ever come across and that I've ever had to report, but there's a really good reason I'm giving you this story, okay? So hang with me. This story is just coming to light. It's about a veterinarian in Fort Worth, Texas. And he's facing animal cruelty charges for allegedly keeping a dog that he was supposed to euthanize alive and using that dog for the last 6 months as a blood donor. The family of 4-year-old Leonberger Sam dropped him off. They were tipped off, rather, by a vet tech who just resigned from this guy's practice. The family actually stormed the vet's office. A couple people went to the back door. A couple people watched the front door, and the rest of them went in there looking for Sam, and by gosh, they found him in a very dirty cage in the back. Now, court records reportedly show that Sam was not the only dog that Dr. Tierce kept alive after telling owners that the dogs had been euthanized. He was using them for blood donors. Dr. Tierce's license has been suspended as he awaits trial. Now, here's the thing. None of these families opted to stay with their pets during their final moments, and that's how this all happened. So I guess the moral of our story, the lesson to be learned, is if you have to have your pet euthanized, you've got to stay with them no matter how hard it is. And frankly, I can't imagine not staying with my pet. So we'll keep you up to date on what goes down with this story, but my gosh, it made my blood run cold. Meanwhile, small pets, they're being allowed on some passenger trains in Illinois. It's a 6-month experiment that's now going on. Dogs and cats can travel on the Illinois Zephyr and the Carl Sandburg lines between Chicago and Quincy. The rules are pretty similar to those for dogs and cats on planes. The animals have to be under 20 pounds and be in a carrier at the owner's feet or under the seat. A ticket for Fido or Fluffy will be $25. There's one car per train that's going to be pet-free for folks who have allergies. And Amtrak officials say the program, if it works, it'll be expanded. Now, if you're going to be stopping by the San Francisco Zoo, you're in for an absolute treat. They have a new resident. He is a 10-month-old red panda. And his new home, it comes complete with a custom-made treehouse built by the crew from the Animal Planet show Treehouse Masters. Now, red pandas, they don't look like pandas like you're thinking, black and white guys. They are noted for their very distinctive bushy tail and their pointy ears, and they're usually not much bigger than a domestic house cat, about 2 feet long, between 8 and 12 pounds, and yeah, they are red. Get more breaking animal news at animalradio.org.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com. Portions of today's show are a repeat from an earlier broadcast.
I know, Tammy, you're still working on that story out of Fort Worth, Texas. As more details become available, you're letting us know. And let's recap for those that are just tuning in. Apparently, someone brought in their dog to be euthanized to the veterinarian.
Correct. The vet diagnosed this dog with a problem that he recommended the dog be euthanized. The dog would not have a good quality of life.
And he said he would take care of it. The owners left. They did not see the euthanization. And they used the dog for transfusions. The dog was never euthanized.
Right, for 6 months.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Details are coming to light right now, so as we find out more details, we'll let you know right here at Animal Radio. If you have questions, download the Animal Radio app for iPhone or Android and ask your questions directly from the app, as well as listen to the shows and browse our huge resource library. We love to travel with our animals. Ladybug, the studio stunt dog, she's wash and wear. She's easy. She's small. You put her in a little sling. You can travel pretty much anywhere with her. I can't imagine traveling with a big dog and how tough that would be.
Yeah, I've gotten spoiled.
But when this book came across our desk from Nat Geo, The Dog Lover's Guide to Travel, Best Destinations, Hotels, Events, and Advice to Please Your Pet and You, I said, Judy, we need to get the author on for this. And have you done that?
I did. We have her with us right now. Welcome, Kelly Carter.
Hi, Kelly. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you two doing?
Splendid, splendid. So now you have a little Chihuahua, right?
I do have a little Chihuahua. And first I have to back up because as you read the title of the book, and it really, it kind of puts everything into perspective because it's really about pleasing your pet and you, right?
Absolutely, because if it's all about the pet, you're going to not enjoy your vacation.
That's true.
Well, your pet has to be happy to make you happy.
Yes.
So now, in the book, not only do you have great locations, but you start out with some basic advice, like how to determine if your dog is really ready for a trip or not.
Right, because not every dog likes to travel, and sometimes you don't know it until you get your dog out there on the road and you find out. But it is important that your dog likes to travel just as much as you do, because we all know that there are people who are happier staying at home than they are going out on the road, and our pets are the same way.
Are there certain breeds that you notice like to travel more than other breeds?
I haven't noticed that there is a certain breed that likes to travel more. Obviously, it's easier to travel with a small dog if you're traveling on airplanes or something, but there are so many people who travel with big dogs in motorhomes and take car trips, and their dogs are quite happy also. But I really think most of the times they just want to be with us, and they just want to travel with us. But I don't see that there's one breed that's more prone. If you have like a husky or something and don't go to Arizona or something.
Sure.
Where they're not going to be too happy. But I think as long as you're going someplace that's comfortable for them. I was recently talking to somebody and they said, what do I do if my dog doesn't like to go hiking and I want to go hiking? Do I take my dog anyway? No, you're going to have a miserable dog. So.
Yeah, and then you'll be miserable too because you'll
Exactly.
be. Yeah. What about booking flights for your dog? Does each airline have their own rules and policies, and what should we know about that?
The only things that is standard is the dog must be at least 8 weeks old, and that is really coming from that goes above the airline's rules. That's just a national rule to protect dogs. That's the Animal Welfare Act. So dogs and cats need to be at least 8 weeks old before you travel with them. After that, then it really is up to the airline to set its own policies. And as far as taking a dog in cabin, and the rules fluctuate. Some airlines say, the combined weight of the pet and carrier must be no more than 18 pounds. Some allow 22 pounds or so. But all of them do state that the dog needs to be able to fit in the carrier and turn around in the carrier. And airlines do check that when you're checking in at the counter and they know you're traveling with a pet. They do ask to see the pet. And some people shove their dogs, they've got these huge dogs, and they shove them into the carrier because they don't want to check them as baggage, understandably. And people have been denied boarding. They're just like, sorry, your pet is too big.
And you have the same rules with the canned dog food as you do with, like, shampoo. There's only a certain amount of food you can bring on.
I found out the hard way. I was traveling when I lived in Los Angeles, and I was traveling to San Francisco, where I live now. But I was traveling up for a weekend to see my boyfriend, and I had a can of dog food, unopened dog food, and TSA said you can't take that through. It's a liquid. I said it's not a liquid. It's dog food. It's a wet dog food, but it's not a liquid. And I argued with them, and I said, would you let somebody through with baby food in a can this size? It was a 16-ounce can, and they said yes. I said, well, this is my baby, and so she must have her food.
Did you win?
I only won because I convinced them, and it's true, my dog was on a special food from the veterinarian. I was only going up for the weekend. I wasn't going to be able to arrive in San Francisco and get this food. And I finally said, you know what, I'm a reporter. I have my website, thejetsetpets.com, and I pulled out my tape recorder, and I said, I'd like to get someone's name, and I'd like to get this on record as me not being allowed to take my dog food through, and this is for my baby. And so they let me through just because I played the reporter card on them. But generally, then, no, they do not allow wet food to go through unless it's 3 ounces.
Jeez.
You have traveled the world, I assume, and I know that there are countries like, I know that in France that they're very pet-friendly. You could bring your animals to most cafes and in most restaurants. Where would you say in the whole wide world is the most favorite place that you and your little Chihuahua Lucy have visited?
Well, we had a really special time in Vienna, of all places. Now, everybody knows, like you talk about Paris, and everybody knows how the French just, pretty much fawn over your dogs. It's not surprising to go into a restaurant and see a dog sitting in the seat. But who knew that Vienna treats dogs pretty much the same? I was at the Ritz-Carlton in Vienna, and I went to lunch at the hotel restaurant, and they said to me, well, where's your dog? And I said, well, the dog's in the room. And they said, well, your dog can come down here. They had a bowl of water, and they had a bed already set up for her, and which is the same thing that happens in Paris when you go to a hotel restaurant and they know you have your dog there. They automatically set this up for you. But I had no idea that this was the case in Vienna. And going to a restaurant, there's a restaurant called Fabio's in Vienna, which is all the chic people go there. It's across from the big Louis Vuitton store, and it's full of all the beautiful people, and it's full of their beautiful dogs too. And we're talking big dogs, so it's not just like my little purse-sized pooch that I tote around, but there are big dogs in the cafe part and in the bar, and it's really nice. I know we'll never get to that point in the United States because of our health laws, but it's nice to know that this does go on elsewhere, and you can travel pretty much not all over the world with your dog, because if you go to China, they're going to say, well, thank you, you brought us food. So there's some places you don't want to go with your dog.
Aren't there some places that also have quarantines? Can you bring them in every country?
You can't take them in every country, but it is important for your listeners to know that the United Kingdom did relax its quarantine rules, and for years, there was a 6-month quarantine.
Wow.
Dog Lover's Guide to Travel is where you're going to find out all this information. It's an awesome book. It's not only just has great information, but it's well put together, colorful, very handy, and a must-have, especially if you travel with your dog. I have 8 copies to give away right now.
7.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
Oh, thanks so much, Hal and Judah. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
How would you like to get a free smartphone? If you own a smartphone, listen to this incredible offer that's almost too good to be true. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Plus, get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline now and we'll move your number from your existing service. Think of your savings. So don't wait. Switch your plan, save money, plus get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline hotline right now, we guarantee you're going to love our service. If you don't like what we say, you can hang up on us. But you won't. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. That's 800-475-3351.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Ladybug just giving you a big old smooch on your face there.
I know it. I just turn around and there she is. Before I even know what's going on.
Get it? You got tongued, I think.
I hate when that happens.
Sort of gross.
I know.
That's not good for you, is it, Doc?
No, it's not good. There's a transmission of parasites and bacteria. And gosh, we have a theory in my household. Both my father-in-law and I caught a cold. He claims from my dog. He thinks the cold was passed from him to the dog to me. Granted, there's no kissing going on between us.
Is that actually possible?
It's possible within some realm of possibility, but not terribly likely because, that would require a pretty close proximity for all of us to be passing kiss fluids.
I don't make this a habit. I don't believe in a dog licking my face, my child's face, anything. So, I just turn around and she was there. I don't do this as a habit.
I enjoy it.
Ew. Well, and it happens to me at work all the time. I'll be talking, examining a pet, and my mouth will be open while I'm, blabbing away, and this dog will come, and tongue goes in my mouth, and it's like, ew!
Well, at least the dog likes you, and as a veterinarian, that's a compliment, I would imagine.
Yeah, I guess it's a hazard of the job, but it's a reward in its own way.
Yeah. Hey, Lou, how are you doing?
Great, how are you?
Very good. Do you have any dogs?
I've got 2 dogs. I got a male and a female. They're both pedigree, and we don't kiss. Sorry.
Don't kiss. Won't let that happen.
Good. I'm with you, Lou.
They say the dog's mouth is cleaner than mine. I don't really want to test the waters on that one.
We found out that's not true.
Yeah,
oh, thank goodness.
First of all, if a dog's mouth is cleaner than mine is pretty not that clean. I'll tell you that. Plus, I just saw them licking down there, cleaning their what.
Yeah, I'm with you right there.
Well, thank you for your call. Is that all you wanted to talk about today?
Well, earlier I was listening to your program talk about cats.
Yeah.
And I'm not certain which one of your guests. I had a cat named Garfield.
Oh, okay.
How cute.
Garfield lived at 22 years old.
Holy moly.
Wow. I'm assuming indoor cat?
No, he was an outdoor. And I'll make this real quick for your program. We got him in a town called Adelanto. Our girls were very, very young. He got caught by a younger family, and they brought him in the garage and put barbed wire around his neck while he escaped, and he came home. He got mauled by 2 dogs.
Ooh.
This dog had a really, really hectic life, but we loved him.
Wow.
And the day I had to put him down, wait a minute.
Let me tell you,
I cried like a baby. This cat was a member of the family.
Oh, yeah.
And I had talking to a guy about 4 or 5 days before I put Garfield down, and he said, well, I cried like a baby. I said, not me. It's just an animal. That's all it is.
Yeah, I hate those people. I hate those people.
I know. But real quick, real succinctly, this cat was something else. He was very, very laid back. He was 22, and when Dr. Edwards from the Animal Medical Clinic, I said, am I doing the right thing? He looked at me and says, well, when you reach 150 years old and someone sticks a needle in your butt, let me know if you're doing the right thing, because I think you'd be welcoming it. We put the cat down about 4 years ago. We still miss him. No, you'd be surprised. I mean, the cat was a member of the family and does have a living memory with us. I'm surprised at that. I really am.
That's the way it is.
That's the way we feel.
Same week, one of my cats died, and my Uncle Louie died. I was more sad about the cat because, frankly, I didn't shed a tear over Uncle Louie. But the animals...
That's horrible, Hal.
Well, the animal gave me unconditional love. Uncle Louie, not so much.
Yeah, well, you don't see Uncle Louie every day.
So true. Forgive me for this, but the day I took him down, My wife didn't want to go. She couldn't do it. She couldn't handle it. She said, "You're the man. Go down and take him down." But Dr. Edwards, the doctor that had saved his life 3 times before.
Wow.
He got mauled by the dog with the barbed wire. Well, I gave the cat to Dr. Edwards. Dr. Edwards looked at me and said, "It's going to be all right." Laid him down, and I'm crying and I'm petting the cat. I'm saying, "Garth, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay." Edwards put his hand on my shoulder. He said, "Settle down. It's done. It's all right. It's done." I mean, it was just that quick. There was no pain. There was nothing. And he went to sleep.
I'm hoping I go that way. Will someone euthanize me when it's time?
Yeah, I will, Hal.
So I want to be your Uncle Louie. Okay, I'll be your Uncle Louie. I'm at least go that way.
I appreciate your time, Lou.
No, I appreciate you allowing me to tell the story. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Fairfield needed that. I don't know what you call it. That requiem, I guess.
It's cathartic, isn't it?
It is. I'm going to cry a little bit now.
I feel. Look at the hair standing up on my arms here.
Hal.
Getting chills. Yeah.
Okay.
He was a terrific cat, and that Dr. Edwards is a godsend because he really helped me through it.
I just had a 21-year-old cat come in this morning, and it's kind of the same situation where we're getting down to talking about, the quality of life is getting there where, it's becoming time. And after that period of time, that is a kid. That is an adult lifespan. And it's very difficult. And I do, as many veterinarians, I see that it's a way that's what we're here for. That's what a veterinarian's job is all about. We preserve life, but we also prevent suffering. So, sounds like they had a great relationship with their vet.
That's all we have time for today. I want to thank Dr. Gerald Post for joining us, as well as Amy Cecil and Kelly Carter. Had so much fun. If you need a fix during the week, head on over to the website. Download the Animal Radio app for iPhone, Android, and you can listen to the shows as well as ask your questions of the Animal Radio Dream Team. I know, Alan. It's so sad.
It can't be over. It can't be over.
It's over, man.
No.
Face it.
No.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Remember to remember.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Animal Radio Network.